Have y'all ever wondered why billionaires donate millions and millions of dollars to a college or to schools, especially HBCUs? Have you ever questioned that? I always wanted that. You know what I'm saying? I always used to look at it for the surface level value of it. Like, damn, that's nice. You know what I mean? They gave $80 million to a HBCU. See, what I learned is universities and colleges are ranked based on their library. That's what it is. Universities and colleges are good as their library is. That's why the best libraries, they are called Ivy League schools, because they have the best libraries. The Ivy League schools have the best libraries. Now, it is also libraries in historically black colleges and universities that's very good. Florida A&M has one. North Carolina A&T, I think it is, have a very good occult, mysticism, metaphysical library. Now, there are probably billions of books out there. And a lot of this literature was stolen. It was stolen and artifacts were stolen and placed in certain places like the Louvre, the British Museum, the French Museum, in colleges and universities. A lot of these books were stored in these places, right? Because they were stolen. But these people have not studied all this shit. They have not studied all this shit. So, when they haven't studied all this shit, is billionaires who will invest or give money, donate money into that school program just to get the research out of it. So that's what they be paying for. So when these multi-billionaires and millionaires donating all of this money into the college, they donating it to grab all the research. They're going to control what research is going to come up out of that college. And how do they get the research? PhDs. It's called your thesis and your dissertation. The students do all of the research for billionaires, millionaires, or what. The students do all of the research to gain a master's degree or gain a doctorate degree. So the think tank for these billionaires, they might be psychologists, socialists, economists. They create what the title of the dissertation piece, so the students can go and do the exhaustive research for them, because they have not studied all of these books. I hope this is making sense. They do the same thing with hospitals. They'll build a children's hospital. They'll donate $80 million to a children's hospital, or have a whole wing of hospital. What you think they're doing that for? What you think they care about kids? Hell no. They're getting the first dibs on organs, all type of shit. The first dibs on the research. We just don't be living in reality, though. The shit is right in our face.
This blueprint right here came from us. See that? The G is in the center. The seventh letter of the alphabet. The 7 is the number of perfected man. This ain't got nothing to do with Freemasonry. This is the science, the philosophies, the systems of the universe. This ain't nothing to be, oh, this is just that spooky stuff. That stuff we gotta run away from. This is exactly what you need to be looking into. And this is Moorish science.
You can't handle the truth.
This ain't come from no pale-skinned Caucasian. This came from our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Mother and son. That's Mason. Then you come right here. What do you see right there? Man. Man is master, able, and noble. That right there is on every hospital. That's the symbol of the catechist. That's the ascension of the Christ degree from the bottom of the spine to the top of the pineal gland. The wings that's on the side right there are the wings of Mayat. That's what that means. That's the symbol of the star child. Right there. That's also the symbol of the 4 lunar cycles. That's also a symbol of the 4 seasons, 4 directions. This is where you get the news from. But they demonize all of this stuff and have us out here thinking that this ain't reality. But everybody else been using our science for their reality. We've been told that this right here is just, y'all don't need to be studying that. What y'all studying that for? That ain't gonna help you do nothing. So if it ain't gonna help us do nothing, why y'all ain't never show us? That part. The acronym of you. What does that say? Your own universe. You yourself are a piece of the universe. You, because you're a starseed. So since you're a starseed, all this information about the Moorish arches, let me tell you something, fam. The Moorish arch is an ancient universal doorway to higher knowledge. So you gotta step through that arch. You gotta step through that doorway. This is why we ain't been taught Moorish science.
What I'm saying is I don't believe the history we've been taught. Here's a good example. Have you ever heard about Lewis and Clark going across the Mississippi? In 1803, there was nothing there supposedly back in those days. Okay, so now think about that. So we're talking about like 200 years ago. There was nothing west of the Mississippi as far as the America was concerned. Now talk about when these cities were founded and became cities like we know today. And explain to me how that makes even a lick of sense. Like, so how did Chicago go from like literally like a tent city in 1840 to Chicago like we know it by 1860? You think about all the central planning that would have took. Then you go like to places like San Francisco. San Francisco like had 1,000 people in like 1840. And then there's a panoramic shot very famously that shows the whole city in 1873. And it's a full grown city. There ain't one bit of construction happening right there, but the whole city is fully grown. San Francisco was supposedly discovered in 1776. So this is around the time what it would have got its name. Well, here's the interesting thing. There's old maps that are 200 years older than that actually either have S. Francisco on it in that same area, or they straight up say San Francisco. Where Chicago is at, there's old maps from like the 1500s that say Shalaga.
History makes no sense. In 1969, we put a man on the moon. In 1970, we finally put wheels on a suitcase. In the 1850s, we deployed our first undersea communication cables. That's before the American Civil War and germ theory. Not only that, during the American Civil War, Abraham Lincoln could have sent a fax to a Japanese samurai requesting aid during the war, which would have been a crazy alt history. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, when he created Sherlock Holmes, could have logically had a story where he goes to Japan and sees Nintendo brand playing cards. And the Holy Roman Empire falls after 1,000 years in 1806. 30 years later, the Republic of Texas is formed. That means that there's a 30-year difference between Charlemagne's empire and the republic run by Sam Houston. That's us in the 90s.
That's the worst thing you could do is like lie to yourself. Like, it's a lot of people like that.
This right here is not the American flag. This is the Star-Spangled Banner.
What do you mean by that?
That's the flag of amity and commerce. That's the flag that the Moors allowed the pale-skinned Albions to do business and trade over here in our land.
Whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
That's the real American flag. That's the flag of the Al-Moroccan Empire.
You 100% right.
This flag right here is the Al-Moroccan flag of the so-called Americas. This right here.
Gotcha.
Red and green, 5-point star. That's the flag of our birthright, right here. That's a corporate banner, a star-spangled banner. Stop saying that's the American flag. Everybody that's a so-called politician, governor, mayor, president, all of them know, Congress, all of them know what time it is except our people.
This nigga is the truth.
In the mindset that think like you're a so-called black person, or you a so-called color person, or you a Pan-African, or you a Indian, or Native American. Only our people got this identity crisis. It's only our people. That's why they keep playing the game.
Let him cook. I'm gonna let him.
Because our people don't know who they are. You don't know your nationality, and your identity is really this. You keep thinking what they told you.
Oh, shit.
So the question then is, why are these people making this effort to fool us into believing that this wall, these movies are real? And the answer is because they're trying to enslave us. Okay? Slavery. But then you're like, okay, but slavery means that I take a gun and I say, if you don't do what I say, I'll kill you. But that's not what slavery is. If the universe is conscious, okay, our energy comes from our attention. Attention is energy. So what they want is our energy. Okay? That's true wealth. If they're able to focus our energy, capture our imagination, they can construct reality in the way that they want it. Okay? Because reality is what we imagine it to be. The imagination is the animating force of the universe. Right? So if they can focus our attention, for us, they can create their own reality. Alright? Now we understand why we watch movies. Now we understand why we have the internet. Now we understand why the school wants you to love artificial intelligence. Because it's to enslave you. It's all of human history is about enslavement. Okay? That's what progress is. You think that, oh my God, I can now watch movies. Oh my God, I have now social media. I can communicate with anyone. Oh my God, I have ChatGPT. And ChatGPT can tell me the truth about the world. No. All these things are created to enslave your mind because you have access to God. And so what they're trying to do is trick you into believing that this reality is a true reality, because once you believe that, this reality becomes the only reality. Okay? So the question is like, who are these people? Well, we don't know, okay?
Do magic. Just ignore everything you've ever thought or felt about magic being a fake thing that you see in TV and movies, and just start learning how to do magic. Because the elites do it. If anything we've learned through these Epstein files, it's that the elites truly actually believe in the power of these sadistic and horrifying rituals that they performed on people. And if you know anything about people that practice magic will tell you that of course the elites know about magic. Of course the elites have psychics in their corner, because they understand how energy works. Because magic isn't this, oh, I'm going to say a spell and have this magical thing appear right in front of me. No. Magic is learning about energy. Everything in this world is made out of energy. And I know that a lot of people might be seeing this and being like, Tark, what the fuck? Like, you talk about Palestine, you talk about politics, why are you talking about this? It's because this is the reality that we're living in. The reality that we're living in is that the powerful people are trying to keep the facts hidden from you. And the fact that we have access to the same things that our ancestors had access to. Our ancestors understood the relationship between energies, the relationship between spirits, the relationship between living things. They knew. Native Americans understand this, Buddhists understand this, people that understand Taoism understand this. This universe that we live in is literally all energy, and it's not that crazy of a concept to understand that we are made out of energy, and therefore we can have an effect on that energy. Like, Christianity is paganism. Christianity is paganism dressed up in colonialism and capitalism. All of those traditions, all of the prayers, they stem from pagan origins. And I can promise you that once you start spending energy devoting yourself to things that actually help you, like the earth, the living, breathing thing that we are on, that connects literally all of us together, you devote yourself to that, you will start to notice the shift in how you feel. And it is so real. It's not hyperbolic to say that the earth connects all of us, literally every living thing. Those of you that have done shrooms and other psychedelics will know what I mean by everything is connected. Stop limiting yourself. Look into the things that you once would have thought were impossible or ridiculous, because the elites are doing it and they don't want you to do it. And if magic is too crazy of a concept for you to get into, then learn how to meditate. Learn what it's like to quiet down your mind so you can listen and feel the energy that is fueling your body, because you are made out of energy, and that's the number one thing magic is.
Fuck Black History Month. Nigga, I ain't even black. I'm just a melanated being. When you address me as a god. This whole earth belong to us, and they want you to celebrate a motherfucking month, nigga. Think bigger, nigga. This is way bigger than this, and I call you a nigga because you a king. You say, I'm gonna keep saying that shit. Oh, this nigga, stop using the word nigga. Nigga. That history book that they make y'all read in school where it say that your ancestors is slaves and shit, throw that motherfucker in the trash. But the ancestors that I'm talking about, they know who God really was because they knew themselves. Just like Jesus said, nigga, you can't know God if you don't know thyself. See, your slave ancestors was given a book and they said that's who your God is. Bullshit, because you don't know yourself no more. They stripped you of everything you know and made it demonic and called it evil. And you think it's evil too. You probably think I'm demonic or something, don't you? Basically what I'm saying is, every day should be celebrated like a motherfucking month. Because it's all ours and it's forever gonna be. This earth is ours, nigga. Now I'm just saying this, and I love everybody, all shapes and sizes, all colors. But I can't help but to tell the truth. And it's the motherfucking truth. So like I say again, nigga, I'm not black, I'm just a melanated being. And now I'm brown right now, but I was once green. It's the Lord.
Who here wants to see real economic growth and results in our city? Yeah? Let's make it happen by transitioning our teacher staff from our current diverse lineup to a selective high-achieving team.
Let's not look at skin color and just look at the scores.
We didn't look at skin color. They're actually the highest achievers in this area.
It'll never fly in Orange County. I'm just telling you that now.
Do they speak good English?
Next.
And rest assured, 12% of their salaries will fund their Uber rides to and from schools. It's a win-win situation. Sharper minds in class and fewer risks on the road.
This really sounds racist. I don't know what to do.
He wrote it.
Stupid. I'm so what? It's stupid.
What's stupid?
The whole thing.
With conspiracy theories, my favourite one of them all is the pig. Between 7,000 and 9,000 years ago, the domesticated pig suddenly appears. Apparently it was sort of developed from the boar, but it's too human. Also, pigs get sunburn. Their eyes are considered to be human-like. They're noted for being incredibly intelligent. And there are indigenous tribes out there that are cannibals that actually refer to Caucasian people as the long pig because we taste the same. Now, in the Bible, there are stories about souls that have been cast away actually being turned into pigs or coming back. There are religions and cultures out there that refuse to eat them. That is because they're considered to be a dirty animal. I believe that the reason that they won't eat pigs is because they believe that to be a form of cannibalism. So my kind of theory in a nutshell is, what are we eating there? Are we eating something that is a hybrid between us? Are we eating something that is a lost soul? But all I know is there are millions of people out there that won't eat it. And I don't think we're being told the truth about why that really is. So that's in a nutshell, that particular chapter.
Colonialism is a lie. America was already built up before the colonists arrived. They destroyed most of the cities with dynamite and called it fires. Look at all these so-called fires. They were just destroying cities, especially in the Civil War. From east to west coast, erasing any buildings that destroy their settlers' narrative. They had been blowing up buildings since at least 1835. They had realized it was unsuccessful, but yet continued the practice of blowing up buildings into the 1900s. Harrisburg isn't even the main city in Pennsylvania. Who needs this in West Virginia? These are repurposed buildings. Iowa State Capitol is crazy. 29 types of marble, mostly imported. No marble quarries in Iowa. Who needs this in Iowa? We're never told about Norumbega, though it's on maps. Okay, then we got the World's Fairs, obviously. Supposedly temporary buildings, right? Actually, no. Whitewash sky, throw some temporary buildings in there to throw you off. Meanwhile, this scaffolding is literally drawn in. Just like the Salt Lake Temple construction, all these people are drawn in and superimposed. Even the Constitution is a plagiarism. More destroyed evidence here. Nobody's going to Port Gibson, Mississippi, though. Or Tuscaloosa. Do you really believe the Dutch bought New York for $24? The original Dutch of New Amsterdam, aka New York, were also black or swarthy. C in Latin is always the k sound. New Jersey is New Khazaria. A Caesar is a Khazar or Kaiser. Even the original Khazars and Caucasus people were eumelanated. The original colonists were eumelanated people. They do this every year in the Netherlands. They took over the East Coast due to the matrilineal structure as depicted in this movie. Black colonists would take Aboriginal wives and then take the land. There is a natural failsafe to block hybridization. But once the egg starts to decline, anybody can impregnate it. Hybridization became widespread and we get hybrid leaders like Tecumseh with this hybrid confederacy. Detroit was destroyed completely as well before Tecumseh took over in the War of 1812, one of the many reset wars from 1776 to now. Things eventually got so degenerated, so mutated, so much chimerism, that the anaerobic people and anaerobic lifestyle has taken over. People stopped producing light and became anaerobes, unconscious breathers, using sulfur to vampire energy. That is why pheomelanin is sulfur-based and destroyed by light. The Confederacy is not what we were told. The Civil War enhanced slavery, it didn't abolish it. The parasite grafted itself to the Aboriginals to be able to incarnate where it's not supposed to, and to expand the time frame in which it can incarnate, to try to bypass the law lines, aka ley lines. That's why certain types of celebrities die at the same time. One is a host, one is a graft, or parasite. This passage goes both ways. For the Aboriginal, the originator provided. For the graft, the folly of the Aboriginal provided.
All right, racists.
The Liberian Declaration of Independence is modeled on the American one, except for some key language. It states that Liberians were originally Americans.
Today we're going to discuss the descendants of the indigenous American Indians, the so-called Black Americans, which are the Americo-Liberians. Yes, you heard that correctly. The people that you all claimed that Black Americans descended from actually descends from you, which is why Afro titles are made up and make no sense. Americo is the origin and correct prefix. Afro is a hairstyle. In 1816, the American Colonization Society was founded with the controversial and complex goal of settling free-born black Americans, who have birthrights, mind you, to West Africa. The whites lied and said that it was to build a Christian civilization, when really it was a way to remove free black people from American society, which also means there was no civilization in West Africa in 1816. Only the indigenous peoples, further proof that no one came from Africa to the Americas on slave ships. The capital city was first called Christopolis, which means City of Christ. It was renamed Monrovia in 1824 after U.S. President James Monroe. These colonies, established by the ACS, was governed by white American agents until 1841. Then, Joseph Jenkins Roberts, a freeborn black man from Virginia, became the first non-white governor. The Americo-Liberians replicated a society modeled on the antebellum American South they had left, but with themselves as the ruling elite. The black Americans established a government, which would be impossible if they were enslaved Africans. Black Americans created the style of dress, architecture, and even created the culture. A culture that set them apart from the indigenous African populations. On July 26, 1847, Liberia declared itself an independent republic, with Joseph Jenkins Roberts elected as its first president. Its constitution and flag were modeled on those of the United States. Liberia became the first independent republic in Africa, predating other African nations' independence by over a century. So again, Black Americans created the civilization known as Africa, not the other way around. They are the true world builders, who we all have to thank as Americans for building the country we are all allowed to exist in. This is their land. All right, racists.
The Liberian Declaration of Independence is modeled on the American one, except for some key language. It states that Liberians were originally Americans.
Today we're going to discuss the descendants of the indigenous American Indians, the so-called Black Americans, which are the Americo-Liberians. Yes, you heard that correctly. The people that you all claimed that Black Americans descended from actually descends from you, which is why Afro titles are made up and make no sense. Americo is the origin and correct prefix. Afro is a hairstyle. In 1816, the American Colonization Society was founded with the controversial and complex goal of settling free-born black Americans, who have birthrights, mind you, to West Africa. The whites lied and said that it was to build a Christian civilization, when really it was a way to remove free black people from American society, which also means there was no civilization in West Africa in 1816. Only the indigenous peoples, further proof that no one came from Africa to the Americas on slave ships. The capital city was first called Christopolis, which means City of Christ. It was renamed Monrovia in 1824 after U.S. President James Monroe. These colonies, established by the ACS, was governed by white American agents until 1841. Then, Joseph Jenkins Roberts, a freeborn black man from Virginia, became the first non-white governor. The Americo-Liberians replicated a society modeled on the antebellum American South they had left, but with themselves as the ruling elite. The black Americans established a government, which would be impossible if they were enslaved Africans. Black Americans created the style of dress, architecture, and even created the culture. A culture that set them apart from the indigenous African populations. On July 26, 1847, Liberia declared itself an independent republic, with Joseph Jenkins Roberts elected as its first president. Its constitution and flag were modeled on those of the United States. Liberia became the first independent republic in Africa, predating other African nations' independence by over a century. So again, Black Americans created the civilization known as Africa, not the other way around. They are the true world builders, who we all have to thank as Americans for building the country we are all allowed to exist in. This is their land.
AI took over the world hundreds of years ago. Your history is all AI. Photoshop has been around for hundreds of years, through various means. Photos themselves are much older than we are told. At least 200 years. And I don't believe the first Photoshop is in 1857 like they say. The Mona Lisa was printed. It wasn't painted. Renaissance paintings like the Mona Lisa were made with 2-micron paint. 30 to 50 microns is the average today. It was perfectly layered and couldn't be replicated today. Yet we're supposed to believe that Da Vinci made it with mortar and pestle paints. Nothing today can be compared to what was being made in 1434 by Jan van Eyck. The reflection in the background is perfectly displaying the reversed image. No one can replicate this level of detail. This is a print, a laser print. Photoshop was also done through etching. We have all been getting catfished. How much of the history has been etched away? These are the original filters. Cartoon filter, whitewash filter, sepia, grayscale. Supposedly there were no Civil War photos in battle, but plenty right before. And it doesn't stop with people. Looks like a lively city block, huh? Those people are painted in. This is in the New York Public Library. You can see they're painted in if you look closely. That horse was never there. You can see they removed people from this one. Their legs are still there. I'm sure many of you know about the Vanilla Sky photos. What a terrible crop job there. They edit out the skies and remove buildings. The sky is commonly cropped out poorly. This whole building is superimposed onto this block. Yet they have been able to solve overexposure in the skies since 1867 with the collodion process. Oops, actually 1857. Yet we get vanilla skies even into the 20th century. Maybe this is why. Even in film we have layering. Half the people aren't even paying attention to this. History is worse than chicks with BBLs and filters. And don't get me started on the sculptures. I've actually been to this place too. The name of this piece is called Deception. It's made out of a block of marble. It's a fishnet made out of a block of marble, and he made it in secrecy. More laser technology that the mutants took over after the reset. That slightly raised pinky causing that muscle flex being captured perfectly like that. The Renaissance was a reset. None of these artists existed. The technology was usurped and used to whitewash the history. And there was a hard reset between 1776 and the Civil War. AI is the opposite of Yah. It's really AI. AI has existed since ever. It is a program that is being uploaded through organic AI, aka human programs.
Listen, golf courses were never meant to be golf courses. They were sacred grounds, power grounds, ancestral grounds, where the tribes came together, not just to chill, but to sign peace treaties, break bread, and straight up demonstrate ancient tech from the old world. Let me break this down. You got Niagara-on-the-Lake Golf Club, oldest course in North America. That's an ancient battlefield land. They will never tell you that's where tribes came in from the north, the Mississippi, all across Turtle Island. That was a peace ground. We would post up, do trade, and when the sun and moon aligned, we would show out with technology from the old world. Levitation devices, frequency tools, copper coil cymatics, we had it all. Same with Druid Hills, Georgia. They call it Drew Hills in the old maps. That was not a coincidence that they laid an 18-hole course on that location. That's where the Yamasee, Creek, and Washita met with the Blackfoot and Aniunwea and signed kinship treaties under the stars on mound-built platforms. The Red Stick Accord was one of them. They call it oral history now because they buried all the damn scrolls. But ask around. The griots know. Thompson Park in Watertown, New York. That whole ley line was a vortex node. Old Moorish families brought their children there for rites of passage, and when disputes came up, we didn't go to war first, we went to the council at the Hill of Fire. That's what it was called before they flipped it. They even paved over the sacred council rings and called them sand bunkers. But them sand circles were made for vibration summoning, not no damn Tiger Woods. The kicker, Frederick Law Olmsted, the so-called landscape architect, was one of the top agents in the reset. Look up his hand in Central Park, Lake Park in Milwaukee, and Durand Eastman in Rochester. He didn't just plant trees, he covered ancient tech, burial mounds, libraries of stone. You want to read some real shit? Start with Ancient Monuments of the Mississippi Valley by Squeer and Davis. Smithsonian tried to bury that one. The Washita proper by Empress Verdiaxi Tiari Washita. She called it out before they silenced her. They Came Before Columbus by Evan Van Sertima. It'll open the floodgates. And dig up the Bureau of American Ethnology reports. Straight feds admitting mounds was tech sites. That's how they do it. Turn sacred ground into recreational ground. Turn ceremony into sport. That's psychological warfare. We gathered there for counsel. Burial, healing, star alignment, energy work. The mounds were decoration, they were technology. Earth receivers. After the resets, the mud floods, orphan trains, reconstruction, they flipped the script. Burial sites and palaces turned into pudding greens. Then they slapped a $500,000 price tag on entry and told the descendants of the builders, you can't come in unless you're a member. So next time you're sitting in Congressional Country Club looking out over that quiet green grass, know this, that was never no damn fairway. That's a burial site, a treaty ground, a Moorish embassy, and that black busboy refilling your wine, he is not your servant. He is the true nobility, the descendant of the royal bloodline that built the ground you are dining on. Isn't it ironic? Black folks can't even enter the gates of land that belongs to them. That's the real game being played. That's the key. That's how they do it. turns sacred ground into recreational ground, turns ceremony into sport. That's psychological warfare. Not no birdie, no par, no back nine. So every time you see a golf course like the Concession in Florida, or Congressional in Maryland, or Druid Hills in Georgia, don't just see luxury. See a damn stolen portal. See the remains of a Moorish embassy, a ceremonial site, a technological node of the old world. That's not no country club. That's the Moorish estate, rebranded. That's where the treaties were signed. That's where tribes gathered to align with the cosmos and lock down the earth grid. That mansion you dining in, it's a converted palace from before the reset. So the next time you sipping champagne on the veranda or swiping your elite pass in the locker room, just know you sitting in the house of the so-called black man. That's the real inheritance, that's the real tea time, and your time running out.